All right, hello guys. Welcome to the podcast. I believe this is podcast number 12. Remember, we're doing podcasts now on Friday. We're going to try and continue with the Friday schedule as we're going to be doing things Monday, Wednesday, Friday podcasts, and Saturday. There won't be anything this Saturday out just because I'm going to be away for the weekend. But the following Saturday, there should be something out. Okay, first, a quick reminder before we start. For the Monday motivational videos, which I don't know if some of you saw the first one, which was consistency. I'm allowing people to submit clips of them working out, of them working hard, practicing their skills, app practice, whatever it is. And if you send me those to simplysoccer08@gmail.com and you provide me with your YouTube channel name or link or just a name in general, or you don't even have to give me a name if you don't want, I may feature your clips in a future video. So if that's something that interests you, if you want to feature in a Simply Soccer motivation video, just let me know just by emailing me. Send me, clips that are motivational in nature, working out, practicing, things like that, working hard, and I may feature you in a video, and I will absolutely give you credit if you want it, so it might be a good way for people to come to your channel if you have one. Okay, so let's get right into the podcast itself. Today we have a few really, really good questions. I was going to do my own topic that I thought was important, but some of these questions are really, really good, and I wanted to make sure I covered them, so I may actually next week do my own little thing. But again, still leave your questions down below because I'll definitely use them for future podcasts. Just ask me anything down below that you want covered in a podcast. So let's go one by one. We have 4 things here that I want to get through and 30 minutes to do it. So let's get started. All right, number 1 is, should I play for a club team? This question was basically like, the whole question was pretty much, should I play for a club team if I want to play college or professionally? And I think the person who asked me said they were 16, which is funny because I started club when I was like 15, 16 as well. Absolutely you should. Now, I don't know what the rules with high school soccer is these days, but back when I was playing, club and high school did not clash. They were separate seasons, but apparently now they do clash. So the big thing is, obviously everyone wants to play for their high school varsity team. I understand that. That's what I want to do, and that's what I did when I was a kid, or in high school. Not really a kid at that point, but that's what I did, and I get that, but you need to be playing for the best team you can possibly play for. This is not only important for your own development, but it's going to show you what the next level looks like. Because if you play on a good club team, you're going to be playing with players that are probably future college players, and you're going to be playing against players who are future college players. And if you want to be ready to play in college, what's the best way to do that? Is to play with players who are potentially going to become college players later. So I think playing for a club team is extremely important. Now, it's not like required to go on to play college. I mean, if you're good enough to play college, you're good enough to play college. But playing for a club team can dramatically enhance your ability as a footballer. I know it did for me, and I know it can for you. Now, the important thing about a club team is you need to get on one that's good, but the good thing is when you're 15, 16, 17, there are very few poor club teams. There might be a few, but there are very few really bad ones. Like when I played at club, the team I played on was really, really good. We played in state championships. We weren't nationally ranked, but we were state ranked, and we played nationally ranked teams. And when you're playing nationally ranked teams and state teams, you're getting better yourself because you're coming up against good players. And you have to figure out, how am I going to keep up with these players and potentially move beyond them? So you have to keep working hard. You have to keep, improving in order to get to a level where you can hang with these players. And that's why it's so good and why it's so important to get on a club team that's good, because you will be playing in really good tournaments. You'll be playing against players who are at a higher level. They're better players. These are not players who, if you've been playing like travel soccer or maybe some school soccer, that you're going to be used to, because these are going to be players who practice all the time, who have dedicated team training with their club. These are players who, for the most part, take their game seriously. And it's really good to be around other players like that because it's going to rub off on you. So my quick answer is definitely yes. You should get on a club team if you can. Get on a club team that goes to tournaments. I know you mentioned I think you mentioned that you wanted to do college soccer or perhaps professional. I would aim for college soccer right now. I mean, obviously, professional would be great. Going to play college soccer is a great way for your development as well, and will give you a better chance at the pros. Um, but if you do want to play college soccer, if that is something you want to do, getting on a club team will help. Now, when you get on a club team, make sure it's one that goes to what are called college showcase tournaments. This is basically, these happen in the summer, usually, sometimes the spring, but mainly the summer. And what these are, this is what most club teams do, and this is for the USA, by the way. Most youth club teams will go to college showcase tournaments, and a college showcase tournament is basically a tournament where a bunch of coaches and scouts will go to watch teams play in order to look at potential prospects for their school, so potential players, right? So they'll take a look at kids who are 15, 16, 17. They'll start talking to the ones they're interested in and try and convince them to go to their school. So when I went to my first college showcase tournament, I actually, after the tournament, we ended up winning it, which definitely helped. But after the tournament, I got some emails from some personal emails from a few college head coaches asking me if I would be interested in their program. And this was only after one college showcase tournament. We ended up playing like 5, 6, 7 tournaments, either that summer or combined with 2 summers. So there's plenty of chance to show what you can do. It's not like a trial where you only have a day or two to show what you can do, and if you just have a bad day, you're kind of screwed. You have many tournaments to show what you can do. So that's a huge advantage. You definitely want to be doing that if you're interested in playing college football or college soccer. You definitely want to be going to college showcase tournaments, so you need to find a club that does that. Now, I got on my club team because the coach of the club team actually saw me play and invited me to come try out. And actually, the way that I impressed him is I used a lot of the methods that are in my previous video, which is how to impress soccer scouts or soccer coaches. And a lot of what I did is actually in that video. So go check that out if you want an idea of what I did. My mentality was good. I had good work ethic. I was very dangerous and unpredictable, things of that nature. So definitely watch that if you want to know what is going to attract a scout or coach to want to bring you on their team. But you can still find a club team just by looking around. Google club teams around you, get in contact with some coaches. If you are in high school and, ask your high school coach, are there any club teams you know of who are looking for players? I want to get on a club team. And most high school coaches want their high school players to be good. And they're going to be aware that if I can get my high school players on a club team, they're only going to get better, which means the high school is going to do better. So there shouldn't be much of an issue there. But definitely try and get yourself on a club team if you want to take your game to the next level. And even if you don't want to play college or pro, and that's not something you're not like 100% sure if you want to do that, getting on a club team is still going to be good if you just want to become a better player, because you're going to be practicing more. And it's not even that you're practicing more. More importantly, you're going to be practicing with better players. You want to become better. Practice with better players, play against better players, play against better teams. That's going to force you to either elevate your game or, not work. If you're willing to work, then definitely do it, because it will help your game so much. When I joined a club team, I was a very raw player. I had a lot of ability. I practiced a lot on my own, but I wasn't used to playing with extremely good players. And when I got to the club team, every single one of them were good, either good or great players, and it helped raise my game like tenfold just because I was playing with these better players. I watched how they played. I watched, how they did, what skills they did, what movement they had, their level of fitness, and I made sure I got on that level and tried to push it even beyond. So definitely look to get on a club team if you want to develop as a player. Next question is, I'm going to do this one really quick because someone said, what league do I watch and what are the best players in that league? So there are many good leagues to watch. I recommend watching as many matches as possible. In fact, after I'm done this podcast, I'm going to go watch a Premier League match. But yeah, watch as many matches as you can of high-level leagues. Now, I'm not saying you can't watch MLS. I'm not saying you can't watch other leagues because you can definitely learn something from them, but when you're trying to learn anything, learn from the best. So if you're going to learn like a skill move, would you rather watch, some random person? I don't know. Would you rather watch a video or watch a match, an MLS match, or would you rather watch Ronaldo do it for Real Madrid? You want to learn from the best. So the best leagues that I think are the best, I think the Premier League's the best one. Um, I think it's really quick. It's physical. It's got a lot of skill. It's very technical. I like the Premier League. La Liga is another great one. Very technical, very skillful, and also very tactical, which will help you. Italian Serie A is also really good. A lot more tactical. So if you're looking to learn more about tactics, it's also a much more defensive league. So if you want to learn a little more about defensive tactics, a great league to watch. And the Bundesliga is another one that I throw in there. And the Bundesliga is honestly a very underrated league. Honestly, I think it could be up there with the best. And could compete with the Premier League for being the best league. It just hasn't, for some whatever reason, it's not rated as highly, but it's definitely up there. And after that, the Ligue 1, the French First Division, is decent. I would say it's kind of a little once. It's basically PSG wins it every year now because they're so oil rich. Monaco tries to keep up with them, but they just can't. Lyon, who used to be the powerhouse in France, just can't. So although there are really good players playing in that league that would be fun to watch, players like Di Maria, I think Ben Arfa is now on PSG. There's a lot of good players to watch in that league. As far as games go, it's going to be PSG dominating. So the league I do watch the most is the Premier League, to answer that question. And the best players in the Premier League, this is going to vary. The thing I like about the Premier League is, and the reason I don't watch the Spanish La Liga as much, because in the Spanish La Liga, there's basically two, maybe three teams that are always going to win it. It's either going to be Barcelona, Real Madrid, and every now and then Atletico Madrid comes in and nicks the title. The problem is, it's just so, you have like Real Madrid will win certain matches 5-0, 6-0, 7-0 all the time, and same with Barcelona, because there's such a gap between the top teams in La Liga and the bottom teams. The reason I love the Premier League is because teams that are even considered near the bottom could still beat the teams near the top. I mean, for example, Leicester, who are defending champions of the English Premier League, lost their opening day match to Hull City, who are relegation candidates. And you can look at other examples, in the Liverpool played Arsenal and the game ended 4-3. It's just more entertaining. There's a lot more going on. And I have no idea who's going to win the title. When I look at La Liga, I'm like, okay, either Barcelona or Real Madrid's going to win. But when I look at the Premier League, I'm like, oh, geez, who the hell's going to win? I mean, you got Arsenal, they're always up in there, but they never seem to quite make it. You have Man United, who have signed Pogba and Ibrahimovic and Mkhitaryan. They're obviously going to do well. You got Man City with Pep Guardiola. This Jose Mourinho, Pep Guardiola thing is going to be cool. You have Chelsea with Conte. That's kind of unknown what's going to happen. You have Leicester, who have pretty much kept all of their good players. They got Conte's gone, but so there's so many, and you have Liverpool with Jurgen Klopp, so you never know what they're going to do. So you have like 5 or 6 teams who are potentially going for the title in England, and that's what makes it so good. Now, as far as the best players, there's so many good players. I actually like that there's no Ronaldo or Messi in the Premier League, and the reason I like that is because one team does not dominate. Basically, there isn't one player who is head and shoulders above everyone else, because when you look at La Liga, it's Messi. He's head and shoulders above everyone else. Ronaldo's kind of up there, but he's kind of declining just a little bit. But you look at the Premier League, and every season it seems like a new player comes out. So last year, Riyad Mahrez won Best Player of the Year in the Premier League. Out of nowhere, absolutely nowhere, he won it. I think the year before, Hazard may have won it. I don't actually remember. Dele Alli last year won Best Young Player. You have emerging players like Harry Kane. You've got Philip Coutinho on Liverpool, who's an amazing player. That may be a bit biased of me because I'm a Liverpool fan, but he is a monster, man. He is a magician. Again, I had Eden Hazard. You have Willian on Chelsea as well. Arsenal. You have Mesut Ozil. You have Alexis Sanchez. We have Pogba coming in for Man United now. Mkhitaryan, actually, watch out for Mkhitaryan this year. I think he's a very underrated player and could honestly, if he hits the ground running with Man United, be one of the most important signings of the season. So keep your eye on Mkhitaryan in the Premier League as well. Who else? Dele Alli, I already mentioned. He could have a breakout year. Look out for Mahrez again. Vardy, see how he does his second year. What are some other girls? Oh, Dimitri Payet, who had an amazing Euro. He's in on West Ham. So you can see there's a ton of good players. And the thing is, there are good players even on teams that aren't in the top bracket. Like you've got Lukaku on Everton, and Everton finished mid-table last season. You've got, other players like that that are just kind of on those mid-table teams. And the reason this is good is because that means because these mid-table teams have these really good players, it means they can beat top teams on their day. They have a good day, and the top team's having a slight off day. It's not like Barcelona who can have an off day and still beat teams because they have so many good players. It's more evened out. So definitely watch the Premier League. It's a league I always watch, and I love watching it. And those are some of the best players in that league. I may have missed a few. There's a lot of them. But definitely the league I recommend everyone watch is the Premier League. I think it's fast, it's quick, it's got many good players, it's entertaining. It's just a way to go in my eyes. Okay. Next question is upper body workouts for soccer. I think it was also with weights. Okay, so this is it's not a difficult one, but it's a bit different because upper body workouts for soccer are going to be a little different than for other sports. Because in other sports, like if you're playing American football, if you're playing basketball maybe, or other things, they're not as cardio based, although basketball is a little bit, but you can put on more weight in those sports. Now, you don't need to be huge to play soccer. Just look at some of the professionals. Look at Raheem Sterling, Eric Lamela, Di Maria. Now, these guys are in really, really good shape, and they're definitely toned, but they're not big. They're not like muscular. They're not huge. They're not gonna be walking down the street and intimidate you. It's not, if you didn't know who they were, if they were walking down the street, you probably wouldn't even notice them. But if like a huge football linebacker was walking down the street, you'd probably notice him because he's huge. So first off, you don't need to be like huge to play football for soccer. So upper body workouts for soccer, I'd say depending on your age, you want to avoid upper body. If you're like 13 or younger, don't even worry about upper body. It's, you can actually stunt your growth. You can actually hurt yourself if you do it too early. So don't worry about that. If you're like a skinny 10-year-old, there's a reason for that. You're supposed to be. Okay, so don't worry about putting on muscle at that point. You're in a growing phase. You don't need to put on muscle. But if you are looking to put on a little muscle, you're trying to get some upper body workouts, there are things you can do. First and foremost, look at body weight exercises. Body weight exercises are things like pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups, not sit-ups, but around that. Push-ups, things like that. And these are great. You can actually put on a decent amount of muscle mass if you eat the right things and you work out consistently with body weight exercises. I know it's not as glamorous as bench pressing and curling and doing all that, but it is going to help you. So I would avoid, honestly, heavy weights for now if you're young. If you're 16, 17, 18, you can start doing some, even 15 or 14, you can start doing some upper body workouts. But honestly, soccer's not about upper body. You do want to have a good upper body. You want to be toned. You don't want to be pushed off the ball or anything. But first, make sure your fitness is in order, one, because you're going to be doing a lot more running than pushing. All right, so if you're not fit, if you don't have cardiovascular fitness, if you can't run, if you get winded too early, don't even worry about upper body right now. Work on that, okay? Then you can focus on putting on a little bit of muscle. But the main concentration you need to have is, can you play an actual match without getting tired right away? So work on your cardio fitness, work on getting in shape before you worry too much about upper body workouts. And I get it that, like upper body workouts has this, it has this external reward, right? You look bigger, you look better, you look stronger. And when you're running, you don't put on muscle. So you could be running, and be really fit and look almost exactly the same as if you're not. But, you got to just kind of prioritize, would you rather look better, like stronger, but be in totally terrible shape cardiovascularly, or would you rather, look pretty much the same, but be amazing cardio wise? Okay. So just make sure you're focusing on what you need to be focusing in for soccer. Soccer requires different level of fitness than other sports. You need to be working towards getting yourself at the fitness and level you need for your sport. So if you are if you were a football player, an American football player or a rugby player, it would be different, right? Your workouts would be different, but you're not. You're a soccer player, so we need to tailor your workout for soccer. So right now, just focus on upper body workouts. If you just Google upper body workouts, you can. Now, there is a program I will offer, and you know what? I will put a link in the description if you want to take a look at it. This is a paid program, okay? So this is not free. It's not my program. I might try and get an affiliate link, but if not, I'll just put it down there anyway. It's called Athlean X. This is the thing I use, and I warn you, like right now, it's not easy. It does incorporate weights, but not really heavy weights. It's more about cardio, getting toned and basically being fit. It comes with an eating schedule as well. So if you really, really want that, I will give you the option. I'll put it in the description. It's called Athlean X. Just go to the link down below and you can take a look at it. It costs, I think, $67, and it's just a one-time payment. You just pay once and you get it. I think it's 100% worth it. I realize that some of you, or most of you, are younger. You don't have money, or if you do, you spend it on other things. But if you're really serious about your fitness, do this program. Find a way to get the money because it's 100% worth it. I'm currently redoing it. I've actually already done the program. I'm doing it again because it's that good. But I'll put that link down below. So if you actually want to get fit and put on some upper body strength, and you're really, really serious about it, go to that link. If you're not so serious about it, don't, because I don't want you to spend $67 and then not do it. Because even though $67 isn't that much money, I don't want you wasting your money, okay? So only for those of you who are serious about getting in shape and getting bigger and getting healthier, go down and click that link. And you can just take a look at it. I mean, it's not like you have to click that link and then you're forced to buy. It'll go over what's in the program, but it's basically 3 months of workouts, and they show you how to do them. So don't worry about that. Like, there's a video that shows you how to do them. It tells you how many reps. It tells you how many sets. It even tells you what to eat. You can follow that if you want, but it gives you all the workouts. Okay, so if you are interested, take a look at the description. It'll be one of the first links. I'll put it Athlean X, and then I'll put the link. Okay, so that's upper body. All right, we got like 8-10 minutes left. Whatever. Let's do how to develop discipline. This is the last question. Someone asked me how to develop discipline to, like, wake up early, to work out consistently, since we're just talking about workouts now, practice consistently, and all that. So here's the thing with discipline. Discipline just means essentially being able to not control, but being able to develop like a system that you stick to, something that you're able to stick with, right? And it takes discipline to do that, because a lot of the time, and here's the problem for a lot of us. A lot of us are used to the schooling system where everything is laid out for us, right? So, for example, if you're in school right now, someone probably wakes you up for school. You may wake yourself up, you may set an alarm, but you have to be in school by a certain time. Your school says you got to be in here by 7:30 or 8, or you're counted as late. So to avoid that discipline, or you get disciplined, right? So in order to avoid getting marked late, you make sure you get there. You have to be at this class by this time. You have to have your homework in by this time. You have to have this project by this time. So basically they're disciplining you for you. Everything's laid out. But when that's only for school and other things, and your parents may discipline you in other areas. But if it comes to like things like working out, if you don't have someone to basically lay out that schedule for you and check on you, you have to develop your own discipline. And like I said, you can check out the Athlean thing. That'll give you what you need, but it won't discipline you. No one's going to come and be like, hey, did you do your workout? You didn't. Get out there and do your workout. No one's going to do that. I mean, I'll make motivational videos, and I'll make videos that say you should be doing that, but I can't come to your house and be like, yo, what are you doing? Get out and work out, right? So you have to discipline yourself to do that. Now, how do you discipline yourself? Well, what's going to happen is you need to develop habits and consistency. So the first motivational video was actually on consistency. You need to develop that because discipline is not easy. I struggle with it sometimes. There are some days that I miss things. It's rare now because I've developed habits, but sometimes that even happens. So realize first and foremost, it's not the easiest thing in the world. You have to be pretty committed. But I'm going to give you some tactics on how to stay disciplined with certain things. So one of them was waking up early. Another one was working out. Another one was soccer practice, something like that. So let's talk about waking up early, for example. So let's say you want to wake up at 5 or 6 in order to get some practice done, in order to get your day going. Something I tried for a while was waking up at 5, and then for the first hour, getting like working out, getting stuff done, things like that. And you don't have to go that extreme. You don't. You can wake up at 6 or 7 or whatever time you want to discipline yourself to wake up. I just experimented with that, and I might try it again. But the way you do it is you need to, or first and foremost, organize yourself. So here's what I would do in order to discipline myself to do that. I would set up my alarm to 5 a.m. and then I would set up another alarm for 5:02 just in case I decided to hit the snooze button. But what I also would do is I would put my alarm clock on the other side of the room, right? So what this does is now I have to, and I'd put it on really, really loud, like the alarm. So it would wake me up and I would want to go turn it off. One, because it's really loud for myself, but two, because it's going to wake up other people unless I turn it off, which is going to be embarrassing, and I don't want that. So I go turn it off, and by the time I've turned it off, I'm on my feet, I'm out of bed. The next thing I'll do is just leave my room quickly before I can even think, because sometimes what I found was I'll just get back into bed. I'll be like a zombie. I'll just walk towards my alarm clock, like kick it off, and then just go back to bed. So the next thing I would do is move out of my room, and go get some water and drink that. And by that point, I'm up. I'm not going back to bed. So why I tell you this is because this is how I developed discipline. This is the way that it works for me. You have to find what works for you. It'd be great if I could just set the alarm, it goes off, I turn it off, I yawn, I get up, and I go. But I know myself. I know I'll go back to sleep. So I have put things in place in order to make sure that doesn't happen. And you have to do the same things for whatever works for you. Do you need to put your alarm clock at the other side of the room? If you do, do that. Do you need to leave your room? Do that. You need to give yourself the best chance of success. Another thing I'll do is I will write my schedule the night before. And why this is important is because I don't want to wake up at 5 a.m. and then have to write out my schedule, right? That's a lack of discipline. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no direction. So I write it the night before. So that's a few tactics you can use. I definitely recommend writing out schedule the night before for what you're going to do. You don't have to write like a complicated schedule for yourself, like a Google, like I don't like doing that, like Google calendar like a week in advance, because my stuff changes all the time. But I just, the night before I go, okay, what do I need to do tomorrow? Well, I need to work on this video. Okay, I need to work out. Okay, what do I usually do every single day? Meditate, yoga, read. Those are things I do every single day, so I put them on the schedule. Even things you know you're going to remember, just write it down, because there's something that happens when you write something down, you're more likely to remember it. And I put it somewhere where I'm always going to be. So I put my schedule on my desk. I'm looking at it right now, actually, so that I always know what I have. Make sure you have awareness of what you should be doing, because a lot of times we forget to do things simply because we do just that. We forget. But if you have it written down in a place you often either walk past or you're sitting down at, it's going to be harder for you to forget. Okay, so for like discipline for things like working out, working out's a little bit different because it involves more than just this mental I have to get up right now kind of thing. It involves physical stuff, like your body is going to hurt sometimes, right? So like if you have an intense workout and you're 2 weeks in and you just wake up on a Monday and you're like, oh, I don't want to work out today, I'm so sore. I don't want, you know what, I'm just going to skip this day. That's a lack of discipline. Now, if you're injured, that's one thing. If you are totally beat and you just can't even walk, you're that sore, then take a rest day. That's fine. But, you know, a lot of us notice, I'm even feeling it right now. I'm still going to work out today, but I'm feeling a little sore because I had a workout yesterday and a match. So my legs are like dead. But it's not enough to make me miss a workout, right? So you have to develop that discipline. Now, one thing that helps me when it comes to working out or soccer practice is I take a look at what am I trying to achieve? So what's my goal? What's my workout goal? What's my soccer goal? So I take a look at that, and that helps me to, when I'm saying, you know what, I don't want to do it, I'm tired, I'm sore, that helps me to still do it anyway. So for example, let's say you have a workout goal, you want to be, I don't know, you want to be ripped, you want to make sure you're not getting pushed off the ball in matches, things of that nature. If you're 2 weeks into your workout and you're thinking of giving up, you need to hold that image in your head of what it's going to be like when you accomplish your goal. So think like, oh, 2 months from now, what will happen if I just keep working out? If I keep working out with the same schedule and for 2 months, imagine how much further I'll be if I keep doing that. You got to think of that. So For example, let's say I want to get bigger. I have to keep in my head what that's going to look like if I keep going. And that's going to make sure I don't want to quit. You're going to have to do other things as well, but that is one of the biggest drives for me. So let's, for example, say, actually, I'll use what I do right now. Right now, I'm doing the athlete program again. So at the end, I have this visualization of me, ripped, strong, fast, able to beat players with my strength, able to hold off players. In fact, I played a game yesterday and I noticed that I was stronger at holding the ball up. People couldn't push me off the ball because of the progress I made. So I visualize this and I make sure, okay, that's what I'm going for. But if I stop working out, I'm not going to be able to get to that, right? So you use that as motivation to keep going. And you can do this for anything that you want to discipline yourself in. It can be for soccer practice. Maybe you want to work on a certain skill move and you think, it's so frustrating right now. I'm not that good at it. Well, think a month ahead. If you practice this every day for a month, think of how good you're going to be at it. Vividly visualize how good you're going to be, and that should help you to keep going. All right, so we're at 30 minutes now. There's a few more things I want to say on discipline. Basically, I'll end with this. With discipline, you have to realize you are accountable. What I'm trying to say when I'm making the analogy of school and how they discipline you at school and how your parents do at home, is for a lot of our lives, we're so used to people being the people who discipline us, right? Being the people who set up our schedule, the school or our parents or whatever. You have to at some point, and do it as early as you can, start doing that for yourself, because especially when you get to college or after college, like I'm 24 right now, no one is disciplining me. No one is like, Dave, you got to do this, this, and that, because I'm an adult. When you become an adult, or even before that, sometimes you have to start realizing I have to discipline myself. Now, some people still, if they go to work, they have a boss who will discipline them. But if you want to improve in an area, if you want to get better at something, if you want to work out, if you want to get healthier, no one's going to handhold you unless you pay someone to do it, like a personal trainer. Unless you pay someone, no one's going to hold your hand and be like, yeah, come on, you got to go do this now and do that and that and this. So you definitely want to you definitely want to develop discipline. And you're going to need to develop discipline for yourself if you want to improve in these areas. And one of the ways to do that is hold yourself accountable. This means if you miss a practice, who's to blame? You're to blame. I'm not saying be hard on yourself and get down on yourself, but don't blame others. Don't blame outside circumstances. Don't be like, I couldn't practice because it was raining, or I couldn't practice because this person made me feel bad today, or whatever it may be, okay? So one of the biggest things about discipline is you have to now take responsibility and accountability for yourself, right? And that's why it's sometimes hard for people to develop discipline, because we're so used to other people kind of taking the responsibility for us. Our parents, our teachers, people like that. So just realize it's not easy, but it's definitely something you should look into, and it's pretty necessary. Okay, so hopefully that made sense. Again, I hope I didn't ramble on that one. I hope that makes sense to you. If you have any questions on any of the topics I talked about today, leave them in the comments and I'll try and elaborate, because I realized for some of these I was kind of going off on tangents a little bit. So if you do have any more questions based on these questions, leave them in the comments. If you have any questions that you would like to ask me for the next podcast, also leave those down below. Use the hashtag discipline. That's going to be our hashtag. Remember, if you use the hashtag that I tell you to use, it's more likely I'll answer your question. And even if you don't have a question, put the hashtag discipline in the comments to let me know that you watched or listened to this all the way to the end. I like to know who is listening to these all the way to the end, because it shows me that you're committed to learning, to getting better, and to improving yourself. And it also encourages me to make more of these. So hashtag discipline, put that with your question, or just put that if you made it all the way to the end. Okay. And guys, also, if you are interested in really getting in shape and really, getting your fitness together and your upper body strength and your lower body strength, in fact, as well, check out the link I have in the description for Athlean, the program. Again, this is only, I can't emphasize this enough. This is only for serious players, okay? If people who want to become a serious player. These workouts are not easy. They start off a little easier and they get harder over time. But I'm gasping for breath after each one of these workouts. So That's a good thing. That's really good. But the only reason I'm warning you is because I don't want you to waste your money if you're not going to do it. Now, the only good thing about it is you'll have it for life. Like you pay once and you always have it, so long as you don't lose your login information or anything. So maybe if you give up, if you don't can't do it now, you could later in your life. But I'm just saying, only get it if you're serious about your fitness. Okay. If not, if you don't think you're going to stick with it, I don't want you to waste $67. That's all I'm saying. All right. All right, guys. Thank you for listening to the end. If you're new, please hit that subscribe button. I mean, thanks for listening to the end. If you're new, that's amazing. We're 35 minutes in. So if you listen to all of this, you're a champ, really. And thank you to everyone else. Hit the like button on this. You can share it if you want as well. And make sure you do #discipline if you want a question answered or if you made it to the end. All right, guys, thank you, and I'll see you on the next podcast.